All right. I hope everyone has had a good Saturday afternoon, an early evening, I guess, as well. We have just one break tonight, and it is the back half of a case of Bowman that we started a few days ago. Now, before we start ripping into things, there is a little bit of information that we need to go over, so let's get rolling with that. So first up is about feedback. And I have my feedback set to be automated on eBay. And really, I do that just so you don't ever have to wait on me. So anytime you leave positive feedback for me, you're going to instantly get the same in return. Yay, no waiting. And of course, the second message there is simply to say thank you. I do appreciate everyone who bids and breaks and chats and hangs out with me, keeps me company, keeps me informed of scores and all that sort of stuff. Next up, we are going to take a little look here at breaks that are coming up over the course of the next few days. So tomorrow is actually Mother's Day, and it's an off night. We're not going to do any breaks tomorrow night, but we'll be back at it on Monday night, and we're going to do a little Gypsy Queen baseball. And that will actually be finishing up the back half of a case that we started last night, and it is the final Gypsy Queen break that we'll be doing for 2019. So if you're a fan of the Gypsy like I am, Monday night's going to be your last chance to get it on it here anyway for this year. Tuesday, we're going to be busy. We've got a lot of breaks, but none of them take a terribly long time. We will open a full 5-box case of TriStar Game Day Greats autographed football jerseys, followed by a full case of Leaf Best of Sports. Those spots are listed by first letter of the last name. They can be found in the football category, and redemption cards do have any redemption has its own bidding spot. And that particular product, since it's a buyback product, if we were to pull a redemption, it would be for autographed memorabilia or a sealed box of cards or like a sealed rare pack of cards. Those would be the options if we were to pull one. Also on Tuesday night, we're going to open Flawless Football. It's a loose box from a shared case, and it's the last of the Flawless. And the last thing on Tuesday night, we weren't quite done yet, also a full case of Tier 1 baseball. Wednesday, we're going to start early, 9:15 Eastern, 6:15 Pacific. That is a new release day. It's only one product coming out, though, and that's Prism Baseball. We're going to break a half case of it to get things started, and they are loose boxes from a shared case. And then going forward, I'm not sure if we're going to break it in full cases or half case. I'm not quite sure how I want to break the remainder of it, which are sealed cases. But these, one place often allocates me, maybe a case and some loose boxes, and that's what happened there. So on Thursday night, we'll open Tier 1 baseball, and we're going to open some Prism Basketball Blasters, a full 20-box case of the Blasters. So they don't guarantee autograph. I think actually they do. They say one, it's not necessarily an autograph, but it can be an autograph or a relic. I think there's one per blaster. But, usually with that sort of thing, we're looking more for the variations in the silver prisms and things along those lines. But it should be a fun little break anyway. Now, here's what we need to know about tonight's break. Bowman Baseball. I am expecting to be on the way to you approximately Wednesday. As always, if I can get something out to you faster than the date that you see there, I will absolutely do so. And if something unexpected happens and my week goes off the rails a little bit, it could be the day later. But right now, as we sit, I expect it to be on the way to you roughly Wednesday. So 6-box half case of 2019 Bowman Baseball. This is break number 6. And of course, everything we're opening tonight. We're opening one thing, but anyway, it ended tonight on eBay, Saturday night, the 11th of May. You'll find the team names are there on the left-hand side, and your eBay user ID is up in lights across from your team on the right-hand side if you're in this break tonight. And what else do we need to know? So some of you probably remember we did the first half of this case a couple of nights ago, and when I opened it up, remember, it was crazy. There were only 6. It was factory sealed, hadn't been tampered with. The advertising poster was in there. Everything was in there, except there were only 11 boxes in the case instead of 12. So, of course, we opened the first half of those that night. This is the back half of it. Well, of course, there were only 5 in the back half of it. And then I went out and bought this little friend right there. at a very healthy markup, I might add, to give us our 6th box for tonight. So that's why 5 of these are numbered on the end, because typically when we start a new case and we don't finish it in the same break, we just take everything out, we number it on the end, and use random.org to figure out which ones we're going to open on any given night. And of course, obviously we only had 5, and number 6, this little fella here, he's not labeled on the end because I had to go, pay $150 to get him. So he better be a good one. That's why we're going to open this box first. I want to know if this spare $150 box is got anything good in it or not. But I still don't quite know how to resolve it. None of my distributors want to pay for the missing box because they all say, well, we don't know if it came from us or one of your other distributors, so you're going to have to go to Topps. And so then I ask them for their Topps rep. Oh, well, we don't have a specific, rep that can handle that. You're just going to have to go online and tell them what happened. I was like, oh, I'm sure that's going to work out well for me. Sorry, I hit the cord that holds the camera tripod, didn't I? And I forgot a little step. I need to change up the focus there, get rid of that nasty little autofocus, and then we'll be able to see things a little more plainly when we get ready to look at this. So yeah, this box that's coming out of the wrappers right now, of course I paid for it the first time in the case, and it wasn't there, and then I paid $150 to buy its replacement. So basically, this one box cards ended up costing me about $230. So we better find something good in here, is the moral of the story. So there are a lot of paper cards in here, and they're going to be interspersed with some chrome cards like you see there, and lots of inserts. Most of our inserts refract the entire series. This would be an example of that. That is top 100. That particular one was for the Twins and Alex Kirilloff. And here's our first autograph out of mega expensive replacement box. And it is for the Colorado Rockies. And a first Bowman here for Roberto Ramos is the first one that we're getting a look at tonight. We should also find in most of our boxes an atomic refractor, probably. We will probably find a Bowman Sterling continuity. This is an example of the Talent Pipeline insert. That entire insert series also refracts. Unless I call it out otherwise, those kinds of things are not numbered. That, however, is going to be numbered because it is a first Bowman Chrome refractor, which will be numbered to 499. It's for the Marlins. A little Nick Neidert. I pronounce about 99% of the names incorrectly, even of players on my own team. I know, bad, right? Can't get them in my head. 30th anniversary parallel. These have a facsimile signature on them. Okay, so that is not an actual live autograph. That is merely an imprint of an autograph. And I feel like I need to point that out because every once in a while you'll come across someone who isn't familiar with that and they think those are actual autographs. Ready for the show, yet another insert series, whole set refracts. And what else are we gonna find in here? Everything does ship. I know I'm sorting out paper separate from chrome, so you're probably going, wait, does paper not ship in this break? It does. It's just in some breaks I don't do it that way. In some breaks, paper base does ship separately. So I'm kind of in the habit of sorting out the paper base into one pile and the chrome in the other as we look at them. But in this particular break, yeah, it's all shipping to you anyway, whether it's paper or chrome. But of course, for future breaks, just always keep in mind any changes like that are always going to be noted in the listing description. Typically, right in the spot where it tells you like the date of the break and the time of the break and the product that's being opened and all that kind of stuff. Rookie of the Year favorites, also I held that up too high. Also an insert series that does not, that does refract, but is not numbered. If we do come across one that ends up being numbered, I will, of course, call that out for you. Maybe I hit the, when I hit that while ago, did I kind of tilt that down? Let's just tilt that up a little bit more and make sure we're keeping everything nice and even in there. See, the only thing I don't like about this tripod is it's got a really long cord and it gets in the way a lot. And if you accidentally hit the cord, it kind of has the tripod going funky. Occasionally, I even send it flying when I hit that cord and don't mean to. So we hope that's not going to happen tonight, but occasionally some other weirdness happens. Anybody happen to know what the final score was of the Cubs game? I kind of gave up when it was still 1-1 at like the 12th inning or something. I mean, I didn't get the game in my market, but I was kind of trying to watch the game cast of it and watch the score, and it just kept going and going and going, and it just, you know, I'm like, oh, forget this. But I was a little interested, at least for the purposes of looking at fantasy stats and things, wondering how that ended up, if anybody happens to know. Of course, they could still be playing it at the rate they were going. All right, we have our atomic refractor out of this box. It's for the Mariners, and it's Evan White. Yeah, some of these marathon games lately, crazy, right? I mean, what in the world? And then we've got other games that, oddly enough, you know, you see like the Giants and the Reds that last series, you know, scoring 16 and crazy stuff like that. I'm like, what just happened to all the games where it would be like 7-8 runs to 5 or 6 runs? See them like that, either 1 or 2 runs or like 70 runs. 70, an exaggeration. Shohei Ohtani as a DH for the Angels on our Bowman Sterling continuity insert. And another 30th anniversary for the Mets, that one with DeGrom. Oh, we find ourselves with a little gold coming out to play here, I do believe. It's for the Atlanta Braves. Although gold is typically to 50, that's to 75. So are they calling this another color besides gold? It is kind of yellowish, I guess, isn't it? Darian Cruz for the Braves. Every once in a while they throw me a curve on some of these colors that are not, I guess it is not really exactly entirely pure gold anyway. We have a paper parallel here. That one is numbered to 499 for the Mets with Ronnie Mauricio. Hang on now. Got somebody in behind Aaron Judge there. Joey Wendell was trying to hitch a ride, it would seem. And we've got another one that's going to be paper numbered to 499. It's Mitch Haniger for the Mariners. So a handful of numbered ones out of this box. A 30th anniversary Casey Mize for the Tigers. Travis Swaggerty, I like that kid. All right. So I guess our super expensive box didn't yield us like $1 million hit or anything. But if you're the Rockies, it made you happy, right? So you got your Ramos there out of box number 1. I might not have said that at the start of the break, but I figure probably by this point in time, most people have done a Bowman break by now. But on the off chance that you haven't, it is one autograph per box in the hobby version. In the jumbo version, it's a little different configuration, but right now we're still breaking hobby cases. Probably, I don't know, maybe one or two more cases of Bowman Hobby still hanging around here that we'll be working our way through. But the Diamond Kings is gone. The Gypsy Queen will be gone after Monday night. We still have Tier 1. We still have plenty of Bowman. That'll stretch out throughout a while, the next little bit. There is still some Heritage down there as well. Undetermined what I want to do with that Heritage. I go back and forth between whether I want to keep it or break it or sell it as a sealed case. I don't know. I go back and forth on it a lot. To 499 for the Pirates. Ke'Bryan Hayes with a nice refractor there. Always good to get the numbered stuff. Everybody's super quiet tonight. There's nobody in chat. It's like everybody's in weekend chilling mode, I guess. Nobody's hanging out in chat tonight. I can't remember the last time that there was literally not one person in chat. I mean, I know there's people watching, but usually there are people chatting too, so that's unusual. Maybe everybody's resting up for tomorrow. It's a big sports day tomorrow with all the basketball and baseball, of course. The NBA Finals, which frankly seem like they take about 6 months to play, don't they? I don't know. It's how it always feels to me. I always think the NBA Finals take forever. Or I should say the lead up. Because we're in the semifinals or quarterfinals or however you want to break it down right now. And every time it looks like the Warriors are on the ropes and they're not going to get out and not going to keep advancing, every single time they somehow pull it out. And, that's what happened again. So the Rockets are out again this year. Steph Curry, played like my grandma in the first half. And then in the second half comes back and just, plays like Steph Curry. And they end up pulling out the win over the Rockets and close out the series and send Houston home one more year in a row. I don't know, it's like the Patriots are in football. Like, you just cannot count out the Warriors. It just seems like no matter what you do, you just can't get rid of them. They just keep coming back. But we don't really have that so much in baseball, do we? Don't really have a lot of quote-unquote dynasties in baseball. Certainly, yeah, there are franchises that have had a great deal of success in the past, but it's not like you have somebody who's won recently, in recent years, won, a bunch of World Series in a row. At least not to the tune of the Patriots, who have won, 5 Super Bowls, and the Warriors, who have won, they won 4 championships, I think. They won 4, going for 5, or they won 3, going for 4. Anyway, they make it a really good sports day tomorrow, but on Mother's Day, so, we can't watch it, right? 30th anniversary parallel for the Astros. I guess some later in the day, but for the most part, I guess we're all going to be doing stuff with mothers or grandmothers or such as that. To 250. There's Runed for the Rangers. That is paper with our purple parallel. Try saying that fast a bunch of times. Paper, purple, parallel. Yeah. Phillies, Aaron Nola, 30th anniversary parallel. And you know, we were talking the other night about that, the baseball that the fan caught from Pujols, his 2000th RBI record-setting or tying 2000th RBI. Happened to be a home run, went up into the stands, guy didn't want to give the ball back, etc. Then I guess has come back subsequently and said, oh yeah, I'll give the ball back. And now Albert's like, no, never mind, I don't want the ball anymore. Like, wait, what? I mean, I guess since MLB's not going to authenticate it, since the fan left the park with it, I don't know if that's the reason Albert doesn't want it, or if he just figures, forget you, guy, you already turned me down, and now I don't want to mess with you. Who knows? That is for the Padres. It's an atomic refractor for Morejon. So I don't know, but that whole storyline's just been crazy. Like, if the guy is willing to give the ball back, why didn't you just give it back to begin with? That is a 30th anniversary Rizzo there for the Cubbies. Because frankly, if he'd given it back that night, like they asked, he was going to get to meet Albert, get a whole bunch of autograph stuff from him, and then they offered apparently some autograph stuff from Mike Trout and other Angels, and threw in that, because the guy was a Tigers fan, threw in that they would give him a bunch of Cabrera stuff too. But he's like, nah, my brother's a Cardinals fan, and Albert used to play there. We'll just keep it. Give it to him. Your brother might have rather had all that autograph stuff, buddy. That's all I'm saying. Texas Rangers, Cole Winn, numbered to 299, and I believe we're calling this Speckle. I think that's what Topps is calling that. Panini calls it Sparkle. Topps calls it Speckle. So if I slip up and say Sparkle, which is what I'm used to saying because that's what Panini calls it, just understand that I mean that. I'm going to try to say Speckle, but I may forget and say Sparkle some part of the way through. Jonathan India for my Cincinnati Reds is our Bowman Sterling continuity. We've yet to see our autograph, so it's got to be hiding here in this last little bit somewhere in this box, and there it is, and by golly, it's the Rockies again. Can you even believe that? Okay, and not only is it the Rockies again, it's the same flipping player. And you know what's really weird about that? Yeah, you do, because we opened it separate. This one came from that totally random box that came from an entirely different place that just arrived yesterday to replace the missing box in the case. And the odds that it would be followed up by out of what was one of the 5 boxes in the sealed case of an autograph for the exact same guy, I mean, the odds of that are astronomical, but yet there they are. That is just crazy. Oh, well. If you're the Rockies, you're happy anyway. All right. We're moving on down the line. Let me get a little water here and we'll get back at it. Hopefully we find at least a different player in this one, right? Like, I mean, even if it came out for the same team, if it comes out for the same player again, I'm kind of going to lose it. I'm going to lose my grip. I don't think it will, though. I really don't. It's extremely unlikely that it came out back to back as it was. Now, I don't think there's any possible way it would show up again. course, stranger things have happened, am I right? I mean, we've all seen... That wrapper doesn't want to open. We've all seen weird things happen with tops and their sorting or collation, whatever you want to call it, at times. Of course, Wednesday of next week, we're going to have Prism baseball. It's going to be first time for Prism in a few years. That wasn't like, you know, I think wasn't 2013 the last year that we had regular Prism, and then maybe in 14 had Prism draft picks or something like that, and then none in 15, 16, 17. I want to say that's what it was. And 18, we didn't have it last year either. So I want to say the last time that I think that we had regular full-on straight Prism without it being contenders draft picks or anything in baseball, I think was maybe 2013. Aramis Ademan here, he kind of jumped off my pile there a second ago. He did not go far, but I did want to give him a good little once-over since he did kind of slide around there in an unintended way, but he doesn't seem to be any worse for the wear, fortunately. That's the nice thing about mats and whatnot. Yuval is here. Somebody's here in chat. Hi, yay. Hi, Yuval. I've been feeling so out of sorts with no one in chat. You said that you saw a case that had 4 autographs of the same guy in one case. Dang, man, that's harsh. I mean, we say that, but if it were the right person, we'd be thrilled that we had 4, you know, right? Like if we got 4 Mike Trouts out of one case, we would all collectively say it was the most amazing case we'd ever seen. Whereas if we get, you know, 4 of somebody else, we're like, oh man, they do a terrible job sorting that stuff. So I think it is all a bit relative. I will admit to being that way anyway. You know, or if we pulled 4 Vlad Guerreros, we wouldn't, or 4 of Eloy, we'd be like, yeah, this case rocks. But if we pulled 4 of Pearl Ramos there for the Rockies, we would be complaining about how badly Topps had botched it. It was 4 out of the 12 were the same guy. Isn't that wild? I just can't even think like how stuff like that happens. They must. I don't really understand enough about the pack out process, I guess. But somebody's asleep at the switch, it would seem. On Atomic Refractor, Ryan Weathers and the Padres. Yeah, Yuval agrees. He says, if it's the right guy, yeah. I'm paraphrasing a little, but he's agreeing with me there. If we pulled a bunch of... at this point, if we pulled a bunch of Chris Paddack, that would also be pretty good, wouldn't it? Because Chris Paddack has come out firing on all cylinders. Another Casey Mize 30th anniversary. Yeah, I have to admit, I didn't expect Chris Paddack to come out and be quite as good as he is. I'll admit it freely. I mean, I didn't think he was necessarily going to be bad, but I also didn't think he was going to be, like, mind-blowing. Maybe he's not he's not to the level of mind-blowing, but he has been awfully good. A 30th anniversary for the Astros with Jose Altuve, who, you know, the first few times I saw his signature, I was like, that cannot be his signature. It looks nothing like his name. I was convinced the first few times I saw his signature that no, they had to have put, because they were stickers, the first time or two that I remember looking at one going, wait a minute, that can't be right. They've put the wrong thing on this card. You know, like it was in, I don't know, it was in a Panini product, I'm sure, since it was a sticker. I don't remember if it was Elite Extra Edition or what, but something along those lines. Yeah, so Prism Baseball on Wednesday, and on Friday of next week, we have Spectra Basketball, finally, allegedly. I say that because, listen, they have moved that date on Spectra Basketball 2 or 3 different times. I don't know quite what's going on with it. How about Kyle Tucker for a Bowman Sterling continuity and the Houston Astros? Of course, Sterling is coming back to the hobby this year. I'm sure everybody knows that by now. It's been retail only release for a few years, and now it's going to be a hobby release, and it looks like they have not made very much of it based on the allocations I have seen so far. It's maybe kind of hard to get. To 125 for the Astros. How about a little shimmer there for Yordan Alvarez? Here's our autograph. It's the Tampa Bay Rays. And Tampa Bay has landed Hernandez. Ronaldo Hernandez. Yuval, Tier 1, I think, has been pretty awesome. Our first case, we hit a 1-of-1 Chris Bryant. Our second case, we had a 1-of-1. Who was our 1-of-1 in that second case? It was somebody for the Braves. Was it Drew? I can't remember who it was. It was a Brave, and it wasn't like, like you're going, wow, that's, tens of thousands of dollars kind of thing. But it was a nice hit. And overall, I think we've gotten some pretty nice hits out of Tier 1. But I'll tell you what, we did get some really good stuff out of, baseball-wise in particular, was Leaf Best of Sports last night. I kind of, it's a multi-sport product, but it definitely kind of tilted towards baseball, the case we had last night. It had a 2010 Bryce Harper 18 and under graded card in it. And it had a Yordan Alvarez first Bowman autographed, of course. Bryce Harper wasn't autographed. I don't even think that was an autograph option card originally. What else? There were other nice. There was a Sandy Koufax in there, like a 19 something Topps, an early year for Topps. There were several baseball. I don't even think that's all of them. But Leaf Best of Sports had a surprising amount of baseball. As in, there were only 10 buyback cards, and how many did we just name right there? There were probably at least 3, 4, or maybe more that were baseball in it. So, it is technically multi-sport, but last night was a lot of baseball. But yeah, Tier 1 Yuval is always so much fun. I love to open it. It's nothing, but hits, which is always fun. And that was for the Twins, the 30th anniversary. It doesn't have a lot of base cards in it, so it's kind of quick to easy, easier than I can speak apparently. So easy to break and sort and ship, and it's kind of a nice little change of pace to have one of those come through after breaking so much base card heavy stuff in baseball recently. Oh, you saw the Leaf Best of Sports last night. So yeah, so you know what I'm talking about then. I mean, like I was surprised at how much baseball was in it. But I kind of wasn't exactly 100% sure what we would get either, because I didn't break Leaf Best of Sports in the past. This is the first year that I decided to break that particular product. Oftentimes the multi-sport stuff I don't do as much of, or sometimes not at all, depending on the price. Because Leaf, I mean, they're nice products, but man, they really charge a lot for those best of products. And best of baseball, best of football, best of basketball usually don't have any trouble hitting what you need to hit to break even. But Leaf Best of Sports, I guess just because it's multi-sport and you don't sell it by team, you sell it by name, those are harder to sell. I mean, you can sell it. I should say it's harder to break even, that kind of thing. In fact, I did not break even last night. You said you wouldn't know which letter to go after. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You just have to think about, like, here's the way I would view it if it were me and I were trying to decide who to bid on. Just think about big names in sports, because that's usually those best ofs. That's kind of the stuff they go after. You figure there's a pretty good number of M's if you start thinking about guys in sports. There's probably a pretty good amount of B's. Will Myers to $499 for the San Diego Padres. That one is paper. So that's kind of how I think of it, And then I also think about, like, who are the big names that could come out in a cut signature. It's Hunter Green, 30th anniversary for my Cincinnati Reds. So like your Ty Cobbs and your Joe DiMaggio's and Babe Ruth and that sort of thing. So it's really, it is a bit of a gamble, obviously, and a guess, but that's kind of how I think about it anyway. Of course, you can always, if you watch enough breaks, probably get a feel for it too. Ryan Borucki, that is numbered to $499 because it is a refractor. You can probably see that there. And, of course, headed to the Toronto Blue Jays. So a little refractor to go with our ink on that one. Not exactly the player the Blue Jays might be hoping for, but yet a hit's a hit's a hit, right? Yeah, Yuval, I wish they printed. I mean, I know a lot of people are frustrated by the fact that those best of, not just the multi-sport one, but those best of don't have checklists. But it's, it's a buyback product, so they're not ever going to put out a full checklist. The best we ever get is, they'll show some examples on the marketing materials, and sometimes they will list. There's often a Leaf Original card in each box, and they might have the Leaf Original cards on a checklist, but they're never going to give us a full checklist for the other. That is Ruiz for the Dodgers. It's purple, and it's paper, and it is numbered to 250. So I definitely know that bothers a certain segment of people, that there's no official checklist you can go to. That probably keeps some people from being as interested. Diaz, Orioles, refractor to $499. All right, we're getting there. We're getting there. I'm kind of thinking about maybe doing our next Bowman break as a full case of Bowman Hobby, but splitting out the paper base. So the teams would be shipped, obviously, numbered cards, whether they're paper or chrome, autographs, and most of our parallels are chrome, so teams would get all chrome cards in numbered paper, but anything else paper would not go, would go out to its own bidding spot. I'm kind of thinking about that. Tatis, baby, San Diego Padres to 250 with the chrome purple parallel. Because I think we've opened enough at this point that I would imagine those of you who might be set building, you've probably had an opportunity to get what you need. I know there's a certain group of people that prefer it that way. Genesis Cabrera, St. Louis Cardinals, with our Sterling insert. So I thought that maybe it's time to move on from that philosophy of shipping all the base, including the paper, and maybe we'll switch over to full cases and just shipping chrome and numbered paper. You would like that because you got too much paper base piling up? Yeah, I feel you. It does pile up so quickly, doesn't it? It was the 30th anniversary for the Oakland A's. And I mean, I would still put up the paper base as a separate bidding category. So if someone wanted that, and sometimes, you know, people do want the paper base, then, you know, you could bid on that and still get it if you're working on sets or whatever. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards. We would probably do that on a weekend, you know, maybe a Saturday or Sunday of the upcoming week. So about this time next week, maybe we'll tackle a full case of Bowman and bust it up that way. Jared Kalenic, Atomic Mariners. I think that someone told me he's on the checklist still. His autograph card is still a Met, New York Mets, and the checklist for this would not surprise me. That happens often, actually, with some of the Topps / Bowman sets. They get the autograph cards printed much earlier. Obviously, they got that time to get them signed and get them back, and so a lot of times those are printed so far out that, you know, there have been changes that have happened in the interim. So like in this case, yeah, they've got the base card and the parallels correctly reflecting that Kalenic is a Mariner, but they must have printed and gotten signed his autograph cards before he got traded in December. So his autograph is in here as a Met. So, but we've seen that happen plenty of other times with players in the past as well. So eventually it all gets caught up. But Topps has us pre-order things like 6 months in advance for the most part. My guess is they're printing these things probably close to 6 months in advance. At least the ones that are being signed, not the others. Not the base, but the ones that are headed out for autographs. To $4.99 Dodgers Ruiz, that's paper. I've always found that interesting that there's such a discrepancy. With Topps, you're ordering 6 months in advance pretty routinely. Every once in a while, it might be a week or two shorter than that, and every once in a while, it might be a week or two longer than that. But in general, you're ordering out about 6 months ahead of when it's actually going to show up at your door. With Panini, good grief, they're all over the place. I mean, sometimes you have a window of a couple weeks, which, you know, that's unusual, but they've done that before. They'll announce something and it's coming like 3 weeks later. You know, it's like you order it and the next thing you know, there it is. But most of the time, Panini's probably 2 to 3 months. So they're about half the time that Topps requires, yet Panini prints probably 5 times the amount of cards because they handle so many different sports, whereas, you know, Topps these days is pretty much all about baseball. So always found that interesting. The Phillies have themselves an atomic signature. It is numbered to 100. It's first Bowman for Will Stewart and Philly. So, making somebody happy tonight. Well, some of these wrappers just really do not want to cooperate with me tonight. I don't quite know why, but they don't. We'll just go back to doing it the old-fashioned way, perhaps. Make life easier. It's usually a little faster to just rip them down the middle, but, you know, tear a notch. But some of these are being difficult tonight. Ah, D-Mets, that's your Phillies hit. Okay. Well, yeah, that's worth the price of admission for sure, huh? Yeah, Bryce Harper's been kind of middle of the road there since he's been in Philly, huh? He hasn't really quite taken off to the degree that I think everybody thought he would just come in and be knocking it out of the park every day, but he's you know, coming off to maybe a little bit of a slow start there. And the Rockies, numbered to 50. You have the gold parallel there for Brendan Rodgers. Ready for the show is the insert. And frankly, it seems like Brendan Rodgers has been, quote-unquote, ready for the show for about 100 years, doesn't it? Doesn't it seem like every year we still see Brendan Rodgers, like, still not up? Of course, it was that way with Nick Senzel, too, until we finally got him up a couple weeks ago. My Reds. The Angels and Shohei Ohtani with a 30th anniversary parallel. And our Sterling insert happens to be for the Kansas City Royals with Mateus. I see a speckle coming up. I almost called it a sparkle. I caught myself at the last possible second there. It's also for Toronto. Still not who you're looking for, though. This one happens to be for Spanberger. And you're just going, man, where is my Vlad Guerrero parallel if you've got Toronto, right? I know. Hopefully Vlad's going to get, I'm sure he is going to get himself sorted out again pretty soon, get back to his winning ways. Acuna, that 30th anniversary. That one's got a little bit of a crease or a bend or right up there at the top. Castellanos. I mean, it's a paper base, but nonetheless. Another atomic. This one is Nolan Gorman. Wish we had some ink on that, right? Cardinals do too. If that's your team, you're like going, why isn't that signed for me and my Cardinals? They're teasing us, giving us the parallels, but not the ink. 30th anniversary parallel there for the Cubbies. That was Miguel Amaya. I had to flip that one over. I didn't recognize him off the top of my head. All right, we are officially at last box mojo time. So this is where we collectively try to fire up our mojo and hope that we end up with a fantastic, awesome, fiery hit. And once again, there's your empty box, and we are off to the races. Well, okay. Like I'm thinking the seams will be easier because the top notch hadn't been working all that well tonight, and now the seam isn't wanting to cooperate with me either, so... Okay, that's just crazy. We'll just go back to the notch. That's the one nice thing about Topps cards. Their packs, you can usually do that, except for the odds and ends pack that doesn't want to cooperate. And hardly any of the paninis can you tear like that. You have to do almost all the paninis from that seam. It takes longer. It's the little things, right? I know. You're like, we don't care about that. I know you probably don't, but it does make a difference in efficiency and how long a break takes and that sort of thing. Ian Anderson, 30th anniversary parallel for the Braves. Because honestly, almost the longest part of a break with a lot of base cards is simply getting the boxes out of the case, the packs out of the boxes, and then the packs opened up and the cards out of the pack. I mean, if we could bypass that, the breaks would be a whole lot faster. So that's why those little weird things like that kind of do matter. But at least this one, it's a weekend, so it doesn't matter as much. Sometimes through the week, you know, I hate going really late because I know people have to get up and go to work the next day, and it's like, oh, they want to finish up and go to bed. It's not as bad on the weekend. Numbered to 125, you have a little Ryan Mountcastle for the Orioles. An Atomic Brewers Horia. So I saw that Bumgarner, I guess, must be thinking he's on the trade block or is officially on the trade block or something, because I guess he has contract specified that he could exclude 8 teams from being able to trade for him. It's the White Sox with not Zach Collins, who was stuck to the back, but with Nick Madrigal in the 30th anniversary. So he's pretty smart. He excluded the teams who might be in, want to pick him up that would be in the championship hunt. He excluded all of them as being potential trade partners, which probably increases his odds to go past the trade deadline, maybe get picked up somewhere down the road instead. Kansas City Royals to 150. That's Salvador Perez. Blue paper. The Rays have a 30th anniversary parallel with Brendan McKay. All right, we've got just a few little packs left here to look at. Whoops, whoops, whoops. That's a refractor to $4.99 with Beau Burrows and the Tigers. And our last autograph is a purple first Bowman for the Rangers. So Last Box Mojo, it kind of brought it home. It worked tonight. Because that is Julio Pablo Martinez to 250, purple refractor. So Rangers, how about you bringing Last Box Mojo all the way home tonight? Our Sterling is Alec for the Phillies. Our last Sterling insert for the night. We are going to recap after we look through these final few cards here. And hey, we're going to have a little orange here in the last box too. So Last Box Mojo, it's a thing. It works a surprising amount of the time. Number 225 for the San Diego Padres, Ornelas. That's paper. All right, that is the break. Now, let's recap it. So there are a few different things I recap in here generally. I do these simply because they usually fall only about one a box. So we're going to look at our Sterling continuity cards and our atomic refractors respectively. Woo! And our little speckle. We did get a speckle, so he's in here too. So this is, of course, continuity, atomics, and another speckle there. But none of these are numbered. And that's why they're in a pile off to themselves there, hanging out by themselves. These are numbered but have no autograph attached. This is paper to 25, Padres. Chrome refractor to $4.99, Tigers. Paper to 150, Orioles. This is chrome to 125, Orioles. Did I say Orioles on the last one looking at this one? It was Royals for Perez to 150. Orioles to 125 on the chrome for the Mountcastle. I don't know which I just said, to be honest. This is numbered to 50 for the Rockies. It's Brendan Rodgers. I feel like I was looking at one and talking about another one. To $4.99, Dodgers Ruiz. That was paper. The Padres with Tatis. 250 purple chrome to $4.99. Diaz refractor for the Orioles. The Dodgers to $250. That's paper. Padres to $4.99 is paper. An aqua shimmer to $125. Yordan Alvarez in the Astros. This is paper to $250 for the Rangers. The Pirates with a refractor to $4.99. Haniger, paper, $4.99, Mariners. The Mets to $4.99, that's also paper, Mauricio. This is to 75 with Cruz and the Braves. And a refractor to $4.99, Marlins. Now we're going to take a look at the autographs that we pulled tonight. So the Rangers have a nice one with Julio Pablo Martinez. That's first Bowman. It's purple. It's $250. Phillies also had a very nice one. Atomic to 100, Will Stewart. Barucki, refractor to $4.99, Blue Jays. The Rays and Hernandez. The Rockies hit 2 of this guy, crazily enough. Roberto Ramos number 1 and Roberto Ramos number 2. You have a spare. One to keep, one to sell. However you want to look at it. An heir and a spare, if you will. Okay, so that's the break for tonight and our recap. I am going to put up spreadsheet information here one final time for anybody who might have missed it earlier. Expecting Wednesday to get this stuff out the door. As always, if I can get it out to you sooner than that, I will gladly do so. If something unexpected derails my week, it could possibly go a day later, but my best estimate is that you can expect it to be on the way Wednesday. Tomorrow night we have no breaks. It's Mother's Day. It's an off night, but we will be back at it on Monday night. We'll open a half case of Gypsy Queen baseball. It happens to be the back half of a case and also the last of the 2019 Gypsy Queen. On Tuesday, a 5-box case of TriStar Game Day Greats autographed football jerseys, another case of Leaf Best of Sports, more Flawless football, and more Tier 1 baseball. Wednesday, we have one new release. That's Prism Baseball. We're going to break it as a half case break to start off. And we'll start early, 9:15 Eastern, 6:15 Pacific. Thursday night will be Tier 1 again and some Prism Basketball, but Blasters. We're going to do a 20-box case of Prism Basketball Blasters Thursday night. So that's it for tonight. Thanks once again, everyone. I very much appreciate you spending part of your Saturday night with me. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and we will see you the next time. All right, bye now.